You think power is lost through weakness, mistakes, or failure. But no, most men are destroyed by their own tongue. They reveal too much, too soon, and to the wrong ears. Machiavelli warned the quickest way to ruin yourself is not your enemy's sword, but your own mouth. Today, I'll show you the 5 situations where your words will betray you and how to remain untouchable by mastering silence. You have been told your entire life that when someone questions you, when someone throws accusations at you, you must defend yourself. You must speak, you must explain, you must rush to clear your name. But here is the first and deadliest trap. The more eager you are to defend yourself, the more guilty you appear. This is the betrayal of the mouth, the weakness that exposes even the strongest. Machiavelli understood this truth, and silence unsettles men far more than words ever could. Because when you speak too quickly, when you pour out your defense, you show fear. And fear is blood in the water. Imagine this: a man is accused of betrayal in front of the court. His instinct is to jump to his feet, to wave his hands, to explain every detail of why he is innocent. But in doing so, he only makes himself the center of attention. His trembling voice, his desperate tone, his need to be believed. All of this confirms what the accusation suggested. He has allowed the enemy to dictate the game. He dances to their tune while they sit back and smile. The guilty man defends himself. The powerful man does not. To defend too quickly is to admit weakness. It is to announce, without saying it, that the accusation has pierced your armor. And once others sense that weakness, they will exploit it. Your defense becomes a performance, and the crowd watches not your innocence, but your panic. The more you explain, the more tangled your words become, the more your reputation decays in front of every eye. Words meant to save you will instead bury you. The wise man, however, does not fall into this trap. He knows that silence has more power than the longest speech. Silence creates a question mark in the minds of others. They ask themselves, if he is guilty, why is he not defending himself? If he is innocent, why is he so calm? That uncertainty is far more powerful than the certainty of your desperate words. Silence places doubt back where it belongs, on your accuser. Think of silence as a weapon. When an arrow is shot at you, do not shoot back instantly with wild arrows of your own. Instead, watch calmly. Let the accuser's words hang in the air. Let others begin to doubt the accuser's motives. Let the room grow uncomfortable with your lack of reaction. Every second of your silence forces the accuser to explain themselves further, to speak longer, to expose their own intent. The man who defends becomes smaller, but the man who stays calm grows larger in the eyes of everyone watching. Machiavelli warned rulers that the act of defending yourself publicly is almost always a loss of power. Even if your words are clever, even if your explanation is flawless, you still step down from the throne of authority and place yourself in the position of the accused. You are no longer the one commanding the stage, you are the one on trial. And once you allow yourself to be put on trial by words you have already lost, power is not defended. It is assumed. It is held by presence, not by chatter. Consider the predator in nature. The lion does not roar to prove it is strong when challenged. It stands still. Its silence, its gaze, its presence are more terrifying than any sound it could make. The prey trembles not because the lion speaks, but because it doesn't need to. You must carry yourself in the same way. Defending yourself with words makes you the prey. Remaining calm, silent, and unmoved makes you the lion. This does not mean you should never respond, but timing is everything. Words spoken too quickly are words spoken in weakness. Words spoken with patience after silence become weapons. When you finally choose to speak, your voice will carry the weight of thunder because it was preceded by the storm of silence. But if you cannot master the pause, if you rush to explain, you betray yourself before your enemy even strikes. Your mouth becomes your executioner. The more it opens, the deeper you dig your grave. Silence, on the other hand, turns your enemy's accusations into smoke that fades in the air. They cannot strike what does not move. They cannot wound a man who refuses to place himself in their trap of words. And that is why the first and most dangerous betrayal of the mouth comes when you defend yourself too quickly, when you answer an attack with desperate chatter instead of regal silence, when you trade your power for the illusion of clearing your name. There is a fatal mistake men commit when they are excited by ambition. They cannot resist the urge to speak of their plans, to announce their victories before they are earned, to let others know what is coming. They feel powerful in revealing what they will do tomorrow, what they are preparing, what their future holds. But this is an illusion of power, for the moment your plans leave your lips, they are no longer yours. They belong to anyone who hears them. And once they are known, they can be stopped, sabotaged, or stolen. Machiavelli warned a secret once spoken is a weapon surrendered. Consider the general who boasts to his allies of the great campaign he is about to wage. He imagines their admiration will increase his authority, but word travels. His enemies hear of it. They prepare for his advance. By the time he marches, the element of surprise is gone, his strategy anticipated, his soldiers walking into traps already laid for them. His army may still be strong, but his advantage has been shattered, not by spies, not by traitors, but by his own mouth. The greatest betrayal came from within. When you speak of your ambitions, you give others time to resist. You warn them. You alert them to your intentions. And human nature is such that once others know of your rise, they will not watch calmly as you climb. Envy awakens. Resentment grows, enemies gather, all because you could not resist the pleasure of being heard. A wise man understands that plans gain strength from silence. They must gestate in the dark like seeds buried beneath the soil. To pull them out too soon, to display them before they have taken root, is to kill them before they live. Your words also create expectations. If you say, "I will achieve this, I will conquer that, I will change everything," the world will hold you to your promises. If you succeed, they may not. If you fail, you are mocked. Silence, however, shields you from such traps. By keeping your plans hidden, your victories surprise everyone. They appear as if from nowhere, sudden and undeniable. People are forced to respect results they did not see coming, rather than judging promises that were never fulfilled. Machiavelli knew that rulers gain more from the mystery of silence than from the applause of premature declarations. A silent ruler moves like a shadow, striking when no one expected. His enemies are always too late. His allies remain guessing, never fully certain of his direction, and therefore always cautious in their dealings with him. This uncertainty is power. Once your plans are revealed, uncertainty dies, and with it dies half of your strength. Think also of those who listen when you speak of your ambitions. Some may smile, may even praise you, but their minds are already working. They calculate how your rise threatens them, how your vision diminishes theirs, how your future success will outshine their own. And in their hearts, they begin to sharpen their daggers. It is not your enemies you must fear most when you speak openly. It is your friends. They are closest to you, they hear the most, and it is they who feel most endangered by your coming victories. One careless phrase at a table, one boast whispered to a companion, suddenly your circle is filled with silent rivals. Even the smallest plans once spoken lose their power. Tell a man you are going to achieve something, and in your own mind you already feel rewarded, as if you have achieved it simply by announcing it. This is the cruel trick of the tongue. It gives you the illusion of progress while making you weaker in reality. Words steal the energy of action. You bask in the admiration of others before you have done anything at all. And so you lose the hunger, the drive, the edge you once had. Silence, on the other hand, keeps the fire alive, burning within you, unshared, unspent, waiting to explode in deeds rather than words. Understand this clearly. Your greatest victories must arrive unannounced. Your actions should thunder, not your tongue. Let the world wake up to see what you have already done, not what you plan to do. Let them be caught unprepared, for surprise is a weapon that only silence can give you. The man who reveals his plans destroys his element of surprise, and with it, his greatest advantage. And so, when you feel the urge to speak of what you will achieve, remember this: every word spoken is a gift to those who would prefer to see you fail. Every plan revealed is an opportunity handed to your enemies. Every boast steals the strength from your ambition. Keep your plans locked behind your lips until they are finished, until they are undeniable, until the world can no longer resist them. For silence protects and words betray. There are moments when a man's greatest enemy is not across the table, not behind the walls of a fortress, but inside his own chest. It is anger that loosens the tongue and betrays him. In rage, men believe they are powerful, that their words cut deeper because they are spoken with fire. But in truth, anger weakens them, for it strips away the discipline that guards secrets and hardens resolve. Machiavelli warned that a man who cannot master his fury will serve his enemies better than he serves himself, because his rage will make him confess, reveal, and destroy his own position without anyone lifting a finger against him. Picture a man in council who hears an insult, who feels slighted by a rival. His blood rises, his voice thunders, and in his anger he shouts truths he should have swallowed. He reveals grudges, he exposes his fears, he blurts out knowledge that should have remained buried. In that moment, the mask he has built for years shatters. All the control, all the composure, all the image of strength he carefully cultivated, gone with a single outburst. His enemies need no spies, no interrogations, no schemes. They only need to provoke him, and his own mouth will serve as their informant. The truth is this anger makes men honest at the worst possible time. It drags to the surface what should remain hidden in the depths. A rival need only touch the right nerve, and suddenly the strongest appear weak, the proud appear desperate, and the careful reveal their true thoughts. Words spoken in calm may be calculated, masked, sharpened into weapons, but words spoken in anger are wild arrows shot in every direction, wounding friend and foe alike. And once they leave your lips, they cannot be retrieved. They live in memory, in rumor, in whispers, ready to be used against you when you least expect it. Machiavelli understood that the man who provokes your anger is not merely insulting you, he is laying a trap. He seeks to make you speak what you would otherwise conceal. He wants you to react, to spill the very secrets he could never steal by force. If you allow yourself to rage, you give him everything he wants. You disarm yourself while arming him, and this is why the ability to remain silent in anger is the mark of true power. To hold back, to appear unmoved, to let the fire burn in your chest but never escape your lips. That is the discipline of kings and conquerors. Think of the battlefield. A commander who acts in anger, who shouts orders without thought, leads his men to slaughter. But a commander who feels the same rage and yet channels it into patience, into strategy, into waiting for the perfect moment, he turns fury into victory. Words are no different. Speak them in rage and they betray you. Hold them back and they become fuel, sharpening your mind and strengthening your presence. You must learn to see anger as a test. When someone insults you, they are probing not your pride, but your control. They want to see if your tongue can be manipulated, if your composure can be broken. The weak man fails this test by speaking instantly, by proving that he cannot govern his own emotions. The strong man passes by saying nothing, by letting the silence weigh heavier than the insult itself. For silence in the face of provocation unsettles the aggressor more than any retort. It shows that you are beyond their reach, untouchable, unshaken. But most men are slaves to their tongues. They believe silence makes them appear weak, as if they have no answer. And so they spill words, fueled by pride, and in their pride they dig their own grave. What they fail to see is that silence is not weakness. It is strategy. To let another man rage while you remain still is to win without lifting a sword. His words become his chains, while your silence becomes your crown. Every great downfall in history carries the mark of a tongue unchained by anger. Kings who revealed their distrust, generals who admitted their fears, rulers who cursed their allies in a fit of rage. Each gave their enemies exactly what was needed to undo them. You must learn from their ruin. Speak less when you are angry, for every word will work against you. The greatest strength is not in the sharpness of your insults, but in the restraint of your lips. A man who controls his tongue in anger controls the battlefield, the council, the court, and even the hearts of his enemies. For what is more terrifying than an opponent who cannot be provoked, who does not reveal himself even when pressed to the edge? He becomes unknowable, unreadable, untouchable. And that is the kind of man Machiavelli insisted you must become if you wish to hold power. There is a hidden weakness that destroys men not with swords or accusations, with their own need to be seen, understood, and validated. They cannot stand to let silence speak for them. They cannot bear to be misunderstood. So they talk, they explain, they justify, and with every word, they shrink. Machiavelli warned that the desperate need to explain oneself is a form of self-betrayal, for power does not justify itself, it simply exists. The more you explain, the more you prove that you are not certain of your own authority. Consider the man who makes a decision and then rushes to explain it to everyone around him. He believes that by justifying himself, he will be respected. He believes that the more reasons he gives, the more his choice will be understood. But the opposite is true. His flood of explanations shows not strength, but doubt. If his decision were truly unshakable, it would stand on its own. By speaking too much, he reveals that he needs others to agree with him. He needs their validation. And once others sense that need, they know he is not the master of his own authority. He is a beggar of approval. This weakness is more common than you think. People speak endlessly, trying to convince others of their worth, their intelligence, their loyalty. They tell stories to prove their character. They explain their choices to earn acceptance. But in the court of power, explanations do not raise your status. They diminish it. For the more you speak, the more opportunities you give others to question, to doubt, to analyze. Your words are like threads, and with each one, someone can begin to unravel the fabric of your image. The strong do not explain themselves. They act. They make choices, and those choices stand without defense. Their silence forces others to interpret, to guess, to wonder, and this guessing gives them an aura of mystery, of strength beyond words. Silence makes others fill the void with their own imagination, and often, they imagine far greater power than you truly hold. The talker, on the other hand, destroys this illusion by laying everything bare, leaving nothing to mystery. Imagine a ruler who issues a decree. The weak ruler adds speeches, clarifications, and excuses, as if saying, "Please understand me, please do not be angry." But the strong ruler simply announces the decree and nothing more. Which ruler commands greater fear, greater respect, greater presence? It is always the one who needs no defense, no explanation. His silence declares, "My word is enough." Your mouth betrays you when it seeks validation, because validation itself is weakness. To need approval is to admit that others have power over you. If their opinion matters, if their acceptance is necessary, then you are bound to them, not above them. This is the cruel paradox. By explaining yourself to gain respect, you lose the very respect you seek. By justifying your choices, you prove that your choices are not strong enough to stand alone. Machiavelli understood that perception rules the world. People do not follow the man who speaks the most, they follow the man who speaks the least, because his silence radiates certainty. To remain calm and unbothered when questioned is to project unshakable authority. To explain is to confess uncertainty. Every word you add to defend your honor chips away at the stone of your image until nothing remains but dust. You must learn to see the hunger for validation as a trap. When you feel the urge to explain yourself, to justify your actions, to prove your worth with words, recognize that you are about to hand power to others. They will smile, they will nod, but deep inside, they will know that you are beneath them because you seek something from them. True power is cold, self-contained, indifferent. It does not ask, it does not beg, it does not justify. It simply is. The great men of history spoke less, not more. Their silence was not emptiness, but a weapon. It forced others to lean closer, to wonder, to fear. Silence leaves a man untouchable. Because no one knows what he truly thinks, no one can use his words against him, no one can corner him with explanations he never gave. In silence lies the highest form of control. When you talk too much, when you explain yourself, when you chase validation through words, you betray yourself. You prove that your strength is not enough to be felt without explanation. You turn authority into conversation, and conversation into judgment. And judgment is always dangerous, for it places your worth in the hands of others rather than in your own. There is a reason silence is called the language of the powerful, for the danger is not always in the words you speak deliberately, but in the words that slip out when you believe you are safe. A careless phrase, a whispered thought, a remark thrown into the air during laughter or in the company of supposed friends. These are the sparks that ignite fires you cannot control. Machiavelli warned that the tongue is most treacherous when it feels most comfortable. For in moments of ease you speak truths that should never be heard, and the wrong ears are always listening. Think of the banquet hall, filled with louder wine and the warmth of company. A man grows bold, speaks of his opinions, mocks his rivals, reveals what he truly thinks of those in power. He imagines that the room is filled with friends, that his words will vanish into the night. But they do not vanish, they cling to memory, travel on whispers, and arrive at the doorstep of his enemy. By the next morning, his tongue has already written his downfall, and he does not even know it yet. His mouth has worked harder for his enemies than any spy could. The mistake is in assuming loyalty. Men believe their companions are trustworthy, that their audience is safe. But there is no such thing as a safe audience. Every ear can betray you. Some will betray you out of envy, repeating your words to cut down your stature. Others will betray you out of ambition, delivering your secrets to gain favor with someone above you. And some will betray you without intention, letting your words slip casually to someone who should never hear them. Once your tongue has released a phrase, you no longer control it. It belongs to everyone and can be twisted, sharpened, and used against you. Even the smallest remark can be fatal. A joke that belittles a superior, a confession of doubt about a strategy, a careless admission of weakness. These are not forgotten, they grow. They are repeated, exaggerated, poisoned by rumor. What began as a passing comment becomes, in the mouths of others, a declaration of treachery, a confession of incompetence, a sign of betrayal. And when the accusation comes back to you, no explanation will save you, because the words are yours. They came from your mouth, and everyone will believe them before they believe your denial. Machiavelli knew that rulers and men of ambition must treat every conversation as dangerous. Each word is a coin spent, and once spent it cannot be reclaimed. The wise man learns to guard his tongue, to speak only what he would be willing to defend in front of a court of enemies. He knows that the walls have ears, and that even shadows carry whispers. He speaks as though every sentence may one day be repeated to his rivals. This discipline keeps him safe, while the careless man destroys himself with his own laughter and chatter. Think of how many empires have crumbled because of loose words spoken at the wrong time. Generals revealing their doubts to soldiers, who then spread fear among the ranks. Ministers insulting their kings in private, only to be exposed by those seeking favor. Friends mocking powerful families in jest, only to be dragged down when their words reach the wrong audience. None of these men thought their tongues dangerous, and yet all were undone by them. The sword is obvious, the poison is visible, but the word, spoken lightly, without thought, is the most silent assassin of all. You must learn the art of measured speech. Speak less than you know, reveal less than you feel, and never allow the comfort of company to trick you into confession. True strength lies not in expressing every thought, but in mastering the discipline of concealment. Let others chatter, let them expose themselves, let them reveal their desires and fears. The more they speak, the more weapons they give you. But if you remain silent, if you guard your tongue, you remain untouchable. No one can twist silence into betrayal. No one can repeat a word you never spoke. Power lies in mystery, and mystery is destroyed by careless talk. The man who speaks too much in the wrong company gives away pieces of himself until nothing is left. He is disarmed not by swords, but by his own laughter and loosened tongue. The man who remains cautious, who treats every audience as potentially hostile, never loses this weapon. He keeps his enemies guessing, keeps his allies uncertain, and keeps his power intact. For silence is the shield that no rumor can pierce, while words are daggers you place in the hands of others. Now you understand the most dangerous traitor you carry is not outside you, but within you, your own tongue. It is the restless mouth that rushes to defend, that brags of unfinished victories, that spits secrets in anger, that seeks validation like a beggar, and that leaks careless words into the ears of enemies, disguised as friends. Each time you open your mouth without discipline, you hand away a weapon, you surrender a piece of your power, you build the very gallows on which you may be hanged. Machiavelli knew that silence is the fortress of the powerful. Words, once spoken, can never be retrieved, but silence cannot be twisted, cannot be betrayed, cannot be used against you. To rule yourself is to rule your tongue, and to rule your tongue is to rule the perception of others. If you learn to master the discipline of restraint, you will never give your enemies the gift of your own destruction. For the wise man does not reveal, he does not explain, he does not defend. He lets silence do the work, while his actions thunder louder than any speech ever could.